What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Nostalgic Network News, and it's the beginning of Spooky Month, so I will have to retire my dear co-host, Agent P, and replace him with my boy, Kessler. But you know what's even spookier than this werewolf? Losing your games. So late last week, Google announced the cancellation of Google Stadia, which I think we all saw coming, but it does raise some questions for preservation. There are multiple Google Stadia exclusive games. Among those exclusives, there is Hello Engineer, a spin-off of the Hello Neighbors series, Pixel Junk Raiders, which was a roguelike RPG, Outcasters, which was a top-down brawler, Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle, which is a 64-player battle royale, and Guilt with a Y, which is a horror game. I don't think any of these are going to be a Scott Pilgrim situation. A lot of these games are meh. But I've heard some decent things about Guilt, and it's always really upsetting to lose a game forever. I find lost media fascinating, and it's so weird to think that a video game, something that hundreds of developers have sunk perhaps thousands of hours into, can become such lost media. I really hope that these games get ported to Steam or some other online service. What would be even better is if they got physical releases. Me and everybody else here at the Nostalgic Network and Nostalgic Video Games are huge supporters of physical games. We've all had experiences with this. I had a game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows from the Xbox Live Arcade as a kid. It's gone forever. Can't play it. Thankfully, Scott Pilgrim got a re-release. That game was lost, presumably forever. We're so lucky that it was attached to the Scott Pilgrim name and had the pull from fans and people like Edgar Wright to get that game re-released. Preservation is a really important part of the gaming community, and it's up to us to let companies know that we want this stuff to be saved. I will never forget the day that Transformers Fall of Cybertron servers shut down. Johnny Flash, if you're out there, miss you, man. There's some awesome companies out there like Retrobit and Megacat Studios that release physical copies of games that usually don't get those releases, and I love supporting those companies. Limited Run Games is the one everybody really thinks of, but they have some shady business practices that I'm not really keen on supporting at this point anymore. Giving those games the physical collector's edition release with lots of goodies like full color manuals, little figures and pins and acrylic standees and fancy steelbooks, it's awesome. And even though it was limited run, all the Star Wars games that they released with the cartridges and jewel cases sealed on actual Star Wars action figure cards, just that's so cool. I really wish companies would do more with that nowadays, but guess we just live in a digital age. So if you support physical games like us, go down to your local game store and buy physical copies of the games that you love. It's a part of the community that I would hate to see go away.
And I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know.
In other news, Fandom just spent $50 million to acquire GameSpot, Metacritic, TV Guide, Fanatical, Screen Junkies, GameFAQs, Giant Bomb, Cord Cutters News, and Comic Vine. All these former CNET sites have been purchased by Fandom, which was established by the creators of Wiki. Now, if you use Wikipedia as much as I do, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. It's just weird to see such huge names like GameSpot and Metacritic and TV Guide getting owned by what always seemed to me as just a fan-run website. I never really considered Fandom a competitor in the gaming news outlet market, but here we are, I guess. So I suppose we now bow down to our new Fandom Disney overlords?
I know I'm free.
In today's market, there's so many buyouts and shakeups and people acquiring this and that usually I'm just jaded to it. But this is interesting. Fandom. Who'd have thunk? We'll definitely stay in touch with this story and see if any major changes or shakeups happen with these companies that we've known and gone to for so long. Kotaku reached out to Fandom, and this is what they had to say in response. Gaming is one of our largest audiences at Fandom. We have 115 million gaming fans across 17 million pages of content and more than 100,000 gaming communities on our platform. So the addition of GameSpot and the other gaming sites will help us super serve gaming fans even more deeply in addition to the library of games reference content we currently have. More power to you, I guess. In other news, the 3 core team developers on Disco Elysium were quietly let go from the company. Zaum? Z-A-U-M? Zaum? Apologies if I mispronounce any of these names. A developer came forward and said, I, Martin Lugia, a founding member and secretary of the ZAM Cultural Association, as well as the assembler of most of the core team, am hereby dissolving the ZAM Cultural Association. not to be confused with the ZAM company, on which subject I would note that neither Kurvitz, Hindpier, or Rostov are working there since the end of last year, and their leaving the company was involuntary, which would seem like bad news for the loving fans out there that are waiting for the Disco sequel. Delugia was a former developer at ZAM, and pretty much came forward and said, yeah, this stuff happened and they didn't want you to know about it. Sorry guys. Looks like the second game is in hot water. Robert Kurvitz was the lead designer, and he was the one who wrote the book that the game was based on. Alexander Rostov was an artist whose oil paintings and impressionistic style were used as the basis for the art direction of the game. And Helen Hindpier was one of the main writers on the game. So apparently the studio just fired their 3 main leads for Disco Elysium, which, yeah, definitely sounds like bad news for a sequel. The studio never officially announced plans for the sequel, but developers were always talking about what their vision for it would be. Disco Elysium was a fantastic game loved by many. If any more news comes out about this story, I'll make sure to update in the next episode. There really isn't all that much concrete information to go off of. All we know is that the business took over the creative side of things, and this really cool series is going to suffer because of it. That was pretty much all the gaming news I had today. There's some other cool stuff going on in the community, like Hocus Pocus 2 just came out. I've heard good things, I've heard mediocre things. I guess it's a win when it's not Pinocchio. New episode of Andor last week was fantastic, and it had an Indiana Jones reference as well as something video game related. Starkiller's helmet. Yeah, Galen Merrick's Sith helmet from The Force Unleashed. Disney. That was so cool. But I'm telling you, man, if you don't, like, if this is just a tease, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be really upset. Andor would be a really good spot for Starkiller to show up. Obi-Wan would have been a really good spot for it, you know. The Ahsoka series would be cool, you know. What if Darth Vader's secret Sith apprentice lived past the Galactic Civil War and is now trying to hunt down Ahsoka? The narrative possibilities are endless. It's also said that Disney and the Disney Channel are in arguments with Dish and Sling TV. So it looks like if they're your cable or satellite provider, you might lose Disney Channel. Now in the end, it comes down to these 2 money-hungry corporations just arguing with each other, trying to get more money out of the other. Disney wants to renegotiate the contract, and Dish just wants to continue the contract they already exist on. Dish doesn't want to spend any more money than they have to, and Disney wants to make as much money as they can. So now we're in a standstill, and you might lose your Disney Channel because of it. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that this is a tactic on Disney's part to further themselves from what they see as the dwindling cable service and focus primarily on Disney Plus and other streaming services. It definitely seems to be the way the industry is moving, but who knows? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next episode or any of the updates on the stories from today. If you got something to add or found something interesting, make sure to let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think about Andor. What's your guys' favorite fandom wiki? And while you're down there, there are a couple links, one to our Redbubble store, which is the best and only way to support this channel directly. The other link leads you to our Discord server. If you get something from our Redbubble store, make sure to post a picture of it in the Discord server because I would love to see it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you tuned in on any of our Anchor podcast platforms, make sure to follow on that app so you don't miss the next episode. If you watched on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. If you didn't know, we have a physical store located in Florence, Kentucky, Nostalgic Video Games, where we buy, sell, and trade retro games and vintage toys. So come on down and check us out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.